It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. Everything you've been through, the waiting, the weeping, the wondering, was never wasted. Those quiet moments when you felt invisible, the long nights spent wrestling with doubt, and the confusing seasons when nothing seemed to make sense were all part of a divine setup, orchestrated not to break you, but to build you. For you were not merely enduring trials, but being divinely trained, refined in the fire, and carefully shaped for a purpose far greater than anything your natural eyes could yet perceive. You've asked, why me? And you've questioned why it has taken so long. But now the answers are about to unfold, not through mere explanations, but through divine elevation. As God begins to reveal the reason He selected you, not for applause or personal pride, but for a higher purpose. The season of hiding is coming to an end, and the time of revealing is upon you. For what God has been meticulously building in secret is now about to be unveiled before others. And as you take a deep breath and stand tall, know that your story is about to speak louder than any words could, and heaven itself is prepared to prove exactly why you were chosen. So before we go deeper, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this message is far from ordinary. This is a divine confirmation for the chosen ones. And if this word resonates deeply within your spirit, type 77 in the comments, for that number carries prophetic significance. A spiritual code that signifies you are aligned with heaven's timing, awakened to divine purpose, and positioned to witness the undeniable proof of what God is about to manifest through your life. Understand that this message is not meant for everyone, but specifically for those who are truly chosen. And if you remain with it until the end, you can expect to receive clarity, confirmation, and activation for your next season. Moreover, don't just watch it once, but revisit it often, because with each encounter, a new truth will surface, revealing key revelations and spiritual reminders of why you were chosen from the beginning. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1. You were set apart long before you understood why. Chosen one, even before you had the language to articulate what it meant to be chosen, your life was already being shaped and guided by divine hands. Long before you could name your pain, express your loneliness, or comprehend the depth of your struggles, God had already marked you with purpose. You were not set apart by coincidence, but by divine intention. And you sensed that difference early, not only in the way others treated you, but more profoundly in how your spirit responded to the world around you. You found yourself unable to follow the crowd, unable to settle in places where others found comfort, because something within you always knew you were called to something greater. Even when you tried to fit in, something deep within you always pulled you back out. And that internal tension was never a sign of failure. It was the process of divine formation. You were being carved out for something rare and set apart for a purpose far beyond the ordinary. While others blended seamlessly into their environments, you carried a distinct frequency, one that marked you as different. You entered rooms and the atmosphere shifted, not because you sought attention or validation, but because of the weight of what you carried within. You bore unseen burdens that others could not comprehend and navigated emotional landscapes so complex and intense that most people would not have survived them. But even in the silence, even in the pain, even in the moments when you doubted everything, heaven never stopped tracking you. Your isolation was never a sign of rejection, but rather a divine redirection. You were not being left out, you were being led into deeper wisdom, into stronger discernment, and into the kind of intimate relationship with God that only wilderness seasons are capable of producing. He had to separate you, not to harm you, but to protect the purity of your purpose. The pain you endured was not wasted. It was intentionally woven into the fabric of your calling. You were not being punished, you were being preserved. You were not being ignored, you were being incubated. The delay you experienced was not a denial, it was divine preparation. Every no you encountered was heaven's way of guarding a better yes, and every closed door was a shield, protecting a deeper, more significant assignment. And now, the very people who once questioned your journey will stand as witnesses to your unfolding. Because what once appeared to be stagnation was, in truth, a sacred strategy. You were never behind. Rather, you were being refined. Refined in character, in strength, and in spirit. Chosen ones often walk alone before they rise into their purpose. And though the path of isolation may have felt heavy, what you gained in that solitude, true identity, endurance, and unshakable faith, has prepared you for a level of influence and impact that could never have been birthed in comfort. You were not abandoned, you were anointed. You were not overlooked, you were overshadowed by God Himself. And now, what once felt like a confusing and painful delay is about to become undeniable evidence. Evidence that you were set apart for something far greater than even your own imagination could grasp. The world is about to witness what heaven has always known. Chapter 2. Your struggle with spiritual training. Chosen one, what you went through was not meaningless, nor was it chaos or mere bad luck. It was spiritual training, divinely intentional and intricately designed by the master potter himself. While others may have looked at your pain and assumed you were being punished, heaven knew all along that you were being prepared, refined, and equipped for a purpose far greater than what anyone could see on the surface. You were chosen intentionally, with purpose and for a purpose. Your selection was never accidental, but a deliberate act aligned with a divine assignment uniquely designed for you. The attacks you faced were not random. The betrayal that shattered your heart, the friendships that unexpectedly fell apart, the financial droughts that made you question your future, and the silent seasons when God felt distant, all of it was part of a greater process, intentionally molding you, shaping you, and stretching you beyond the limits of your comfort so that you could be fully prepared to step into the calling that was placed on your life. God was building something within you that could not be developed through comfort. You were not merely experiencing pain, you were undergoing preparation. You were being trained for the front lines of spiritual leadership, where strength is forged not in ease, but in endurance. While others were being promoted through popularity, your promotion came through pain. Your classroom was the fire, your lessons were taught in the depths of loneliness, and your graduation came through groaning and pressing beyond what you thought you could bear. While others trained in convenience and ease, you were trained in the trenches of spiritual warfare, equipped for a purpose that required divine resilience. You learned how to pray without needing an audience, how to worship even while bleeding, and how to discern spirits in the silence. You learned how to trust God without the luxury of clarity. Every no you endured became a lesson in obedience. Every loss became a tool that deepened your humility, and every unanswered prayer became training ground for a faith that sees beyond what the natural eye can perceive. Every dark night taught you how to walk by the light of His word alone. You didn't break, you were broken open. You didn't lose, you were being loosed. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. And while the world saw your tears, heaven recorded your obedience. God saw every moment you chose silence instead of retaliation. Every time you gave even when you had little, and every time you encouraged others while secretly needing encouragement yourself. That, chosen one, is strength. That is spiritual maturity. That is sacred endurance. Through it all, you became wiser, more discerning, and deeply rooted, not in religion, but in authentic relationship with God. Your struggle was never a setback, it was sacred training, a divine boot camp designed to develop within you a level of resilience and spiritual authority that cannot be shaken by applause, success, or even intense warfare. And now, God is preparing to reveal to the world that what nearly broke you has, in fact, built you. The enemy may have tried to take you out, but all he succeeded in doing was pushing you deeper into your purpose. Every scar on your soul now stands as a sign of survival, a visible mark of heaven's hand upon your life, a testimony that not only are you still standing, but you are rising. You are not fragile, you are forged. You are not weak, you are weaponized. And the very fire that was sent to destroy you, God used to refine you. Now, get ready, because the world is about to witness the strength that was forged through your struggle, and they will have no choice but to acknowledge that you were trained, not by human hands, but by heaven itself. Chapter 3. The proof won't be in words, it will be in evidence. Chosen one, there comes a time when explanations expire, when justifying your calling, explaining your growth, or trying to make others see the purity of your heart no longer serves you. That time has now arrived. You've tried before, you've made sincere efforts to help others understand the weight of what God whispered to you in secret, but no more. What comes next will not be explained with words. It will be revealed through undeniable evidence. You tried to get them to see the vision, the one that kept you up at night, the one that brought you to tears in worship, the one that led you to walk away from comfort and into confusion, simply to follow God's leading. But they didn't understand, not because you were wrong, but because they were never assigned to your revelation. You were speaking from the Spirit while they were listening through the lens of the flesh. What was sacred to you appeared strange to them, and what felt like a divine blueprint in your heart sounded like mere fantasy in their ears. As a result, you remained misunderstood, misjudged, and even mocked, not because you lacked clarity or strength, but because you were moving ahead of your time. But hear this now, that season of misunderstanding is coming to an end. God is about to confirm what He deposited in you, not through debate, not through arguments, and not through lengthy explanations, but through evidence, real, visible, undeniable proof. This time, your life will speak louder than your lips ever could. You will no longer have to strive to make people recognize your value, nor will you need to demand that they respect your name or beg for a seat at someone else's table. God Himself is building the table, and this time, they will come and sit at yours. The fruit will speak, the favor will speak, the results will speak, and the oil on your life will speak. The doors that open without any human explanation will speak as well, and the peace you carry, despite all you've been through, will speak the loudest of all. This is the season in which heaven is revealing the weight and power of what your silence has been carrying all along. Every time you cried instead of clapping back, every time you sowed in secret, every time you chose purpose over popularity, and every time you submitted when it would have been easier to promote yourself, God saw it all. And now it is harvest time. You do not need a platform to be validated, a title to be trusted, or applause to know that you are anointed. The favor that is about to surround your life will be undeniable. The very people who questioned your journey are about to witness the outcome of your obedience. And the beauty of it all is that you will not rise with arrogance, but with authority. You will not need to boast, for the blessing itself will be loud enough. You will not seek revenge, because your reward will be more than enough. Every unseen seed you planted in faith is now about to break through the surface, and it is going to bear fruit in such a powerful and undeniable way that it will silence every critic, every doubter, and every accuser. They may remember what they said about you, but they will be forced to wrestle with what God has done in and through your life. So, stand tall, chosen one. No more explaining yourself, no more shrinking to make others comfortable, and no more watering down your worth to fit in with people who were never meant to recognize your value. The proof is coming, not because you forced it, but because God is faithful. He is the one who called you, the one who covered you, and now the one who will confirm you. And when it happens, you will know with absolute clarity that it was never about words. It was always about the evidence. Chapter 4. The people who counted you out will see you called up. Chosen one. There were rooms in which you were overlooked, conversations where your name was intentionally left out, and opportunities that were handed to others while you stood silently on the sidelines. And in those moments, you wondered, did they forget me? Did they not see my heart, my effort, my obedience? But let this truth settle deeply in your spirit. They didn't count you out because you were unworthy. They counted you out because they couldn't recognize or measure the presence of God within you. You see, they were looking through natural eyes, evaluating what they could see in the moment, while you were chosen according to a supernatural design. While they focused on your current status, heaven was focused on your eternal stature. While they measured your value by visibility, God measured it by faithfulness. They underestimated you, unaware that your silence was sacred. They dismissed you, not realizing that your delay was divinely orchestrated. They ignored you, failing to understand that God was not punishing you through isolation, but preparing you. They couldn't recognize the oil on your life because they were too focused on the dust of your process. Yet, the very dust they mocked is what God used to form the foundation of your destiny. You were not being hidden in shame. You were being kept in sacred development. God was building something in you that needed separation from shallow praise. And now, it's time, not for applause, not for revenge, but for fulfillment. The same people who saw you struggle, laughed at your dreams, talked behind your back, and left you, will now see you enter rooms they never thought you would. Not because you forced it, but because heaven planned it. God is about to use your life as a clear example of His power. Your testimony will be the very thing that dismantles their assumptions, for they will not be able to deny the glory upon your life, not because it comes from money, fame, or influential connections, but because it radiates from a faith that has been tested by fire, obedience that has been purified through trials, and a purpose that remains unshakable. Let this truth echo in your spirit. The one they forgot is the one God is about to favor publicly. The one they rejected is the one God is about to elevate spiritually. And the one they underestimated is the one God is about to establish undeniably. And you will not rise with resentment, you will rise with revelation. Because chosen ones do not rise to retaliate or clap back, they rise to call others forward. This is not about revenge, it is about redemption. It is about the fulfillment of prophecy. It is about God declaring, "Do you see this one? This is the one I prepared in secret, the one I molded through midnight tears, the one I chose before they ever knew their own name." So let them watch. Let them remember the words they once spoke. Let them replay the moments they overlooked you. And let them stand back in awe as God does what only He can do. Because this is the season in which your calling will be undeniable, your anointing will be visible, and your elevation will be irrefutable. Chosen one, they may have counted you out, but heaven never did. And now you are being called up, not for clout, but for the advancement of the kingdom. Chapter 5. You're not rising to boast, you're rising to build. Chosen one. This next level of your life is not about status, it is about stewardship. You are not rising for recognition. You are rising to carry responsibility. You are not being elevated to flaunt your position, but to fulfill your divine assignment. God is lifting you because He saw what others overlooked. He watched how you remained faithful in the silence, how you continued to praise Him through the pressure, and how you didn't simply wait passively, but worshiped while you waited. He saw how you managed seasons of lack without compromising your integrity, how you walked in humility when giving in to pride would have been easier, and how you continued to build even when no one was watching. And now, the reward is being released, not for the sake of your ego, but for the fulfillment of your purpose, not for show, but for service. You are being entrusted with more because you prove faithful with less. This is a divine promotion, not merely of position, but of purpose. You are being placed in rooms where your voice will carry weight and significance. You will have access, not for the sake of attention, but for the fulfillment of your assignment. The influence you are gaining is not random. It is the answer to someone else's prayer. You will be the bridge, the builder, the vessel. God is raising you up not merely to celebrate you, but to work through you. You will speak words that bring healing, release wisdom that restores, create things that bring liberation, and plant seeds that will outlive you. People will see your elevation and wonder how you achieved it. But the truth is, You didn't strive for it. You surrendered for it. You didn't hustle your way into favor. You humbled your way into it. You didn't manipulate doors to open. You served faithfully until God opened them in His perfect timing. And when they ask you for your secret, your response will not be a formula. It will be a testimony. I didn't force this. God built this. I didn't push for this. Heaven promoted me. This isn't the result of networking. It's the result of kneeling. Because the truth is, this is not merely success. It is sacred. God is establishing something within you that cannot be shaken. This is not a temporary rise. It is a foundational shift. He is not just blessing you. He is building through you. And this time, the blessing will be deeply rooted, the impact will be lasting, and the fruit will remain. You are rising not for applause, but in response to a higher calling. You are not stepping up to be seen. You are stepping forward to serve. And as God lifts you, remember, you are not here to boast, but to build, not to shine for yourself, but to shine for the sake of souls, not to climb ladders of personal ambition, but to lift others into purpose and hope. So go ahead and rise, unapologetically, but rise with clarity, resolute, rise with humility, and rise with holy fire. Because God is building something far greater than your name, He is building something eternal through your wholehearted yes. Chapter 6. Your purpose is about to meet its platform. Chosen one, there is a divine shift taking place in your life. You may not be able to fully explain it yet, but you can feel it. Your spirit is stirring, your atmosphere is changing, and doors are beginning to respond to the sound of your obedience. This is not a coincidence. It is divine timing, for the purpose God placed inside of you is no longer being hidden. It is being strategically positioned. This is the season in which your purpose is coming into full view, a time when everything you've been through, including the pain, the process, and the preparation, is about to make sense. What you once believed was merely survival training was, in fact, a spiritual boot camp. You are not just being tested, you are being trusted. And now heaven is declaring, it's time. Time for you to rise, time for you to speak, time for you to build, and time for you to walk in the fullness of everything God has placed within you. For so long, you questioned why you carried such a deep calling, such a sensitive spirit, and such a bold vision without any visible outlet. You repeatedly asked, why would God give me this if I have nowhere to use it? But now you understand, the waiting was not wasted, the silence was not punishment, and the hiding was not rejection. It was protection. God was keeping you under the radar because He was not only preparing a platform for you, He was also preparing you for the platform. He had to ensure that your heart could handle attention without idolizing it. He had to train you to speak truth rather than chase trends. He had to strip you of the need for validation so that when He launched you, you would not bend under pressure. Because this platform is not for ego, it is for impact. It is not about being seen, it is about being sent. You are not rising because you branded yourself. You are rising because God built you in the dark and is now revealing you in the light. This elevation is not about status, it is about service. You are being positioned so that what has been placed within you can reach those it is meant to impact. This platform is not the finish line. It is the beginning of a greater mission. People will find healing through your story. Lives will be transformed because of your obedience, and chains will break at the sound of your surrender. And yes, the very same people who once overlooked you will witness this next chapter of your journey. But you will not rise with arrogance. You will rise with assignment. You will stand tall not because you seek the spotlight, but because you carry the light. You will speak boldly, not to impress, but to impart. This platform will not be a stage for performance. It will be an altar for purpose, a place where God's glory will be revealed through your yes, where miracles will flow from your obedience, and where what was once pain becomes prophecy fulfilled. So do not shrink. Do not second-guess your calling. Do not dim your light to fit into rooms that were never meant to contain your magnitude. You are being positioned for influence with purpose, anointed for impact with spiritual weight, and marked by God. not simply to be known, but to make him known. This is your time, this is your space, and this is your divine release. Your purpose is no longer lingering in the background. It is stepping into the spotlight, not for applause, but for assignment. And from this moment forward, every platform you touch will become a place where heaven speaks through you. You did not chase this. It was divinely ordained. You did not force this. It was perfectly timed. You did not fake this. It was faithfully formed. Chapter 7. God is about to prove his promise without you having to force anything. Chosen one. For years, you have carried something deep within you, something you couldn't explain to others. You felt the heavy weight of divine purpose long before there was any visible evidence. You moved differently, prayed with deeper conviction, and held on to hope, even when everything around you appeared unchanged. Deep down, you always knew something was coming, even if you couldn't name it, because your spirit was never wrong. And now, you are entering the season where God is about to confirm everything your heart has quietly carried, without the need to force anything, prove yourself, or fight for visibility. For when you are truly chosen, heaven takes care of your validation. And your rise is not a result of connections, approval, or branding, but a direct outcome of your unwavering alignment with divine instruction, even when it was painful. Because this moment is not about proving people wrong, but about God proving himself right through you. Everything that was sent to break you is about to serve as undeniable evidence that you were never forsaken. For the attacks were actually confirmations. The rejection was divine redirection, and the closed doors were protective detours, shielding you from environments unfit to carry your calling. And though you once tried to explain yourself, your heart, your decisions, your devotion, they simply couldn't understand. Not because you lacked clarity, but because God intentionally concealed you, hiding you behind the curtain, while he refined your character in secret. God led you through the wilderness not to punish you, but to strengthen you in private for the public release that is now unfolding. And in this moment, you are not merely stepping into favor, but into undeniable divine evidence, the kind that cannot be argued, and that silences every lie without the need to say a single word. It will be the kind of evidence that causes those who once counted you out to reconsider everything they assumed about you. Not through arguments or lengthy explanations, but through an unshakable peace and blessings so profound they can only be traced back to the hand of God. Everything you thought was lost is coming back stronger, and everything that once not made you question your value is about to be transformed into a powerful testimony. Every delay is about to make perfect sense, not as punishment, but as divine protection all along. It was positioning and preparation for a manifestation that not only blesses you but establishes you. For you were never forgotten, only divinely reserved. And now everything is aligning. The people you are meant to help are about to find you. The doors that once remained shut are about to swing wide open. And the very places that once overlooked you will have no choice but to acknowledge the unmistakable hand of God on your life. You are about to walk into rooms without needing to explain how you got there, and sit at tables that once shut you out, not carried by pride, but by purpose. And that purpose will shine so brightly that even your enemies will have to acknowledge that only God could have done this. For this next season is not about making noise, but about producing undeniable results. You won't need to defend yourself or raise your voice to be heard, because the elevation will speak, the consistency will testify, and the grace on your life will declare everything your mouth no longer needs to. Let them talk, wonder, and assume, because while they speculate, God is orchestrating a divine demonstration of his glory in your life, not to feed vanity or elevate ego, but to reveal victory and confirm that he can trust you with the weight of the assignment. For the stage was never the goal. Impact, influence, and legacy are. And this is not merely your breakthrough, but a breaking open of doors for others whose destinies are connected to your obedience. So move forward, not in haste or desperation, but with a calm, steady, and humble boldness, confident in this truth: what is meant for you will never miss you. and what is coming exceeds anything your resume could ever justify. For God is about to prove his hand on your life, not through noise or striving, but through undeniable evidence, accomplished not by your strength, but entirely through his. You won't have to chase it. You were born for it. And when it happens, you'll know. It was never about forcing anything. It was about becoming everything he already ordained you to be. Your life is about to speak louder than your words ever could. Get ready. Thanks for watching. Here ends this video. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe if you find this video interesting.